Hey, Jen. Welcome to Quantum Messages. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, I wanted you to start out by telling us your story about when you were a kid and your connection to the unseen realms.
So it started around the time I was 5 years old. My grandfather passed away at the age of 5, yet I could actually still see a silhouette of his image and I could hear him. But all the adults around me would tell me, Jenny, he has passed on, he's not there, let it go. And that's actually when I learned to kind of be quiet about what I know. My mother very lovingly guided me with what she called inside voice, but what she did not actually mean was the volume of my voice. She
Mhm.
meant keep it in my mind. She taught me at a young age that everyone has a universal life truth. And just because I may be aware of it does not mean it is my right to speak it out loud. So, as a young child, I have always lucid dreamed.
Mhm.
And I used to call it world walking in dream state. As an adult, I learned I was quantum interdimensionally traveling using the energy that powers my vessel in a dream state. But I did not understand it. As a young child, I saw chakras and meridians like a power strip with infinite cords plugged into it because I did not know the words chakras and meridians as a young child. At around 13, I got really afraid in a dream. And it was a universe where things were nothing like Earth. And essentially, from that point, I went la 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 to the universe.
Mhm.
But I was still driven to study holistic healing. I was still driven to study world philosophies and different ways that subtle energy fields work.
Mhm.
Um, and so at about 21, I encountered Santero. And this man never spoke English until I walked into the room, and he channeled my grandfather in perfect English.
Mhm.
Every Cuban in the room had their jaw dropped. They could not believe this man they have never heard spoke English, spoke perfect English. And he laid me flat. There was no hiding energetically.
Mhm.
He said, you got scared as a kid. You need to continue to learn to flow with spirit and with the energy. He called me a Santera, which in essence translates to one who walks and talks with the spirit realm. And he said my ears would stop ringing as much when I learned to work with the energy.
Mhm.
And that was when I really dedicated my life to understanding the subtle energy fields, to communicating with my guides and guardians,
Mhm.
to understanding both myself and the galactic universe. Um, I was pretty young when I had come up with 3 rules for the universe: that I will be your humble vessel for love, grace, and gratitude in the furtherance of love and healing, and something that I can do something about. Because
Mhm.
being made aware of worldwide events that I did not understand as a child did me no good, but it
Mhm.
helped to lessen the energetic chatter. Um, the first one of my guides to pop up at about 25, very out loud, first told me when I asked what their name was, first said their name was Guinevere, which is an old English name for the name Jennifer, which caused me
Mhm.
to laugh, which was their way of saying, like, I am yours or I am you, which I better understand now. Later, I was actually driving and I asked again, well, what is your other side name? What more specifically is your name? And the other side said, well, think of the word Spanish, but blue, think of the word blue in Spanish, but feminized. And Azura came out of my mouth.
Mhm.
I've later understand this to be different levels of the energetic vibration through my vessel. What I first thought was my primary and first guide is the energy that powers my vessel.
Mhm.
So that's kind of my experience through the subtle energy fields. More recently, I graduated Stargate Mystery School, which gave me further grounding and understanding of the quantum universe.
Mm-hmm. So, when you were a kid, and you've mentioned this several times, that you are neurodivergent,
Yes.
and how can you describe your experience as a kid and with these unseen worlds, and also being neurodivergent? Do you feel like there's some type of connection between the two?
There hugely is.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a large portion of my life as a social worker,
Mm-hmm.
and more specifically with those who are neurodivergent. And I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Most neurodivergent minds, I used to call a rapid processor, like a computer being a rapid processor.
Mm-hmm.
And within their neurodivergent spectrum of life, our minds will take in more energy and there
Mm-hmm.
is no shut off valve. So we are perceiving and understanding more subtle cues than neurotypicals usually do.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that everyone can't do everything. It's just our brains literally take in more information and vibrate at a higher hertz rate
Mm-hmm.
than the neurotypical realm.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience as a social worker, I have noticed that most on the neurodivergent spectrum tend to be more aware of the subtle energy fields. One way I would teach this is most humans have heard the phrase, you could cut the tension in the room with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does not take someone energy sensitive to feel a bunch of upset people in one room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of a metaphor or an example for that. And we tend to discount this in greater society as children are growing up. So
Mm-hmm.
they don't know or understand what to do with this energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that in school systems, they weren't just put into little boxes of how things should be,
Mm-hmm.
and that their gifts and their skills were utilized.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, I was always asked, what is your gift? What is your skill? And I would say people, but
Mm-hmm.
that's actually was not an acceptable answer in my generation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it depends on how that is fostered and nourished, as opposed to being looked upon as something that is not good.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed as a teacher, I've noticed that there's more neurodivergent students and children coming up through the system. And what I've noticed is that you're right, they do put them in a little box, like you're over here, and this is where you can reside.
Hmm.
And the other thing I'm noticing as well is that they're trying to turn off. Well, I don't know if they're trying to turn off, but maybe unconsciously turning off their gifts by for putting a screen in front of them, like almost like as a babysitter.
Hmm.
So, what do you? I mean, there's a lot of neurodivergent kids and also adults right now. And what do you feel about that? Why are there so many?
Part of it is a progression of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Energy likes to move and energy will evolve. The
Mm-hmm.
one constant that we are aware of is the vibration of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I have always seen neurodivergence as almost like an evolution of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
One of a really good example of this is Temple Grandin, who revolutionized the farming industry as a woman in her 50s and as a neurodivergent, um,
Mm-hmm.
got all of these degrees and mastered a male dominated world in a time
Mm-hmm.
when that was not acceptable. But her mind saw in images and in patterns
Mm-hmm.
instead of verbal or audio manners.
Right.
So I think one of the things I have liked seeing to a degree is
Mm-hmm.
an evolution of the way that we are offering education
Yeah.
into offering more modalities that are not just a visual or audio modality.
Right.
That we're offering hands-on and different things of that nature. But there is a wide influx.
Mm-hmm.
My other feeling about that from my individuated understanding and perspective of consciousness is that it is also waves of the galactic community integrating with humanity.
Mm. Interesting.
So one of the things that I've explained to others, I used to supervise intermediate care facilities for the developmentally disabled in my early 20s.
Mhm.
And there were some individuals that my feeling was this was their first time through the earth domain, or their energy's first stint through the earth domain within the galactic community.
Mhm.
And how would you feel if you woke up in a vessel you didn't understand where all the rules had changed?
Right.
And I understood that from my world walking dream weaving states when I
Mhm.
would travel in a dream state, because what scared me at 13 was I woke up into a vessel that I did not understand. I
Mhm.
woke up into a realm that I did not understand, where nothing operated in the manner in which it did in the earth realm. And in essence, the way I can explain that now is the energy that powers my individuated vessel here
Mhm.
powers infinite vessels across infinite dimensions. And this individuated consciousness can shift along that energy to experience those dimensions for the purposes of learning and understanding.
Mhm. And so you believe that a lot of these neurodivergent humans are
Mm.
experiencing this right now, but yet they don't know how to express it because there's no guidance in our traditional school system and society right now. And do you feel like if all of these new galactic entities are coming through to try and embed themselves within the earth consciousness, do you feel that they're being suppressed right now with technology?
There's a certain level of suppression that happens worldwide with children just through the educational system, regardless of where
Uh-huh.
you were at.
Right.
And we tend to be very narrow in the
Uh-huh.
way that things can be accomplished. But
Hmm.
yet there is an infinite amount of ways that the same
Hmm.
goal can be achieved.
Right.
And so it all depends on the educational modality. You know,
Right.
some are breaking through that are much more receptive, but
Hmm.
you are very correct that we as a society need to be more open
Hmm.
to the infinite amount of ways of doing things. For example, I would always train is not necessarily the proper word. I would always work with other individuals to
Hmm.
assist them with keeping contact.
Hmm.
Yet, my stuttering is the neurodivergent way of showing that's one thing that will get me. Um, but yet, I myself have always struggled with eye contact
Hmm.
because there is so much energy intake with my mind that the best gift I can give anyone is closing my eyes when we speak, to focus, to truly absorb what is going on in that moment. So, just as one example of how children's gifts may be shifted,
Hmm.
I have a much better read of the subtle energy fields when my eyes are closed. And the quantum universe and the galactic community will filter through my mind and my mouth much less restrained when my eyes are closed,
Hmm.
because I don't have so many other distractions about with my visual, with what I'm seeing visually.
Hmm.
Um, but yet through the school systems, we are going to teach children that eye contact is necessary. And we
Right.
are going to teach children that that is the only socially acceptable modality that there is, you know, when that is not necessarily true.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, yeah, very well said. And I hope in the future that, the system can change so that we can better incorporate and also kind of support these students coming through.
Hmm.
It needs to shift. It needs to change. And I'm hoping that it does. I just want to read something that I had written down. It's kind of long, but I want to make sure that I get it all correct. And I was just wondering if you could comment on it.
Oh, yeah.
So in the 1970s, the term indigo children was coined by Nancy Ann Tapp. I think that's how you Tappy or Tap. I don't want to
Mm.
mispronounce her name. And she was a psychic and parapsychologist who saw auras around children. And then in the 1990s, it became really mainstream by Lee Carroll and Jan Tober, who wrote the book The Indigo Children, The New Kids Have Arrived. So that's one
Hmm.
part. Then along this work, or during this whole time period as well, in the 1980s, Dolores Cannon, with her work with her clients and hypnosis, was informed about the three waves of volunteers who had started coming to Earth in the 1950s to help stabilize Earth's energy field as Earth's transitioning into fourth density. And what she said from her study with them, with her clients, basically, and the collection of what the hypnosis sessions,
Mm-hmm.
She said that each wave came across different challenges, but as the third wave came, it became easier. And
Mm-hmm.
that these souls were coming from different galactic systems, and they'd never been on Earth before, just like you had said. And so they were having problems with, the dense polarity and karma on the planet. So you kind of already mentioned it, but I was wondering if we can go a little bit deeper into this. What is your perspective? And I mean, I'm assuming my intuition is telling me that yes, this does relate to you, and you do see
Oh,
this.
yes.
Um,
Uh, what I
so.
find funny is it was not until the last 2 years
Mhm,
that I intentionally made myself aware of all of the people you mentioned. For a
mhm,
long time, for the purposes of validation,
mhm,
um, I would not listen to worldwide channelers or different individuals of that nature because my friends did.
mhm,
So if I said something that the worldwide channelers already had, then
mhm,
I knew that I was likely more spot on than not. So it was a way of validating the infinite energy thunderdome that we have come to know as Earth.
mhm. Right.
Um, I was giggling when the terms indigo, rainbow, crystal, and so on came
Yeah.
forth, and initially, I got frustrated, keeping it real, because I'm like, yo, there's no age range to it. People
Mhm.
want to put this little timestamp of an age range.
Right.
And then when I was made aware of how Dolores Cannon, quite literally in the last 6 months, this came into my awareness,
Mhm.
um, deemed first, second, and third wave.
Yeah.
Oh, did I feel that at my soul? I was like, oh, thank you for words I
Yeah.
did not have. Um, Lee Carroll causes me major giggles
Mm,
because the Azra energy stream that powers my vessel, one of the emulations that it flows through is the zzz. And I
mhm,
never had a term for it. And apparently Lee Carroll terms Z Nation.
mhm,
And I had no clue about that at all. Oh no,
mhm,
maybe that was Lee Harris. Ah,
mhm.
needless to say.
Yeah. A
Um,
Lee, a Lee
Bingo.
person.
But within we all have an energetic signature.
Uh-huh.
We all have a vibration that comes off of that. And for me, I don't actually see the auras off of humans. But when I close my eyes, if the human wants to know, the universe will let me know where their auric field is at.
Mhm,
Um, if what I call offset my eyes, I can see the air and I can see the auras of trees individuated in groups and of animals,
mhm,
which I find entertaining. What I understand more with the different lineages of energy that are
mhm,
flowing through. Thank you, universe.
mhm.
Um, because when people want to term indigo, rainbow, crystal, so on and so
Yeah.
forth, we perceive those as lineages of energy flittering through the earth domain and
Mhm,
in vessel format.
mhm,
And so we are having more of the galactic collective experience within the earth realm.
mhm,
There are more galactic community members vibrating in different vessel formats
mhm,
within earth than earth has experienced previously,
mhm,
and more or less harmoniously. It depends on which level you want to look at that at.
mhm,
More harmoniously than in the past, I guess, could be
mhm,
said, to a certain degree. And when it comes to the waves that are flittering through, the image, because sometimes the infinite energy will show me an image as
mhm,
opposed to individuated words. Sometimes they put a complete book into my consciousness that takes me longer to explain than it does for me to understand. And
mhm,
sometimes it's an image.
mhm,
But when Dolores Cannon speaks of the first, second, and third wave, think about how we heal ourselves.
mhm,
Healing is not done in a snap of the fingers.
mhm,
Our chakra and meridian systems do not vibrate in harmony always. They can, depending on your level of vibration. Don't want to discount anything. But usually it takes a little effort,
mhm,
to let it go, let it flow, let it be. So the image the universe gives me is when you are healing and you have a glass that is full of some dark liquid.
mhm,
And then you turn on the water, which is the healing, and you
mhm,
keep filling that glass and filling that glass. And over time, that
mhm,
glass is going to become clear water.
mhm,
And so each wave that comes through is like filling the energetic waters of the earth domain.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so it's a little lighter and brighter for each wave that comes through.
mhm,
There is less resistance to the
Mm-hmm.
infinite energy. There is more understanding of the subtle energy fields.
Mm-hmm.
And there tends to be a lighter layer of the infinite energy that powers the vessel, collaborating and being harmonious with the individuated consciousness and the group consciousness and the
Mm-hmm.
collective galactic community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the more children that I am blessed to witness that come through, my gosh, golly. And it's because everybody is doing their work now,
Yeah.
and the more that we live out loud for the purposes of validation of others, so that others are not afraid to speak as I was as a child.
Yeah.
It has really been only in the last 10 years that I have let it go, let it flow, and let it be verbally
Mm-hmm.
in regards to all of this, in regards to energy, because I was taught to be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and now children are not taught to be as quiet.
Right. So they're given the gift of being at freedom of speech.
Bingo. Well, to express
Mhm.
themselves.
To
I've
express
had a
themselves.
long standing joke that if you ever want to know the truth,
Yeah. Mhm.
ask anybody under the age of 5 or over the age of 80. No
Yeah.
filter.
True. Very true. That is a very good tip. Very good tip. Yes, that is great. I love that. So you've mentioned that you've channeled Azra energy
Mhm.
multiple times. Uh, who are they? Where did they come from? How are you connected to them?
I mentioned it a little bit earlier in my energetic
Yeah.
progression of conscious expansion.
Right.
Thank you, Center for Sacred Studies, for better words.
Mhm.
um, but within that, when I was a child, I was always taught by my grandmother that every human has guides, guardians, angels, things of that nature. And so the way that I have come to understand it is that we are all gifted with energy that will help guide us along our way
Mhm.
when we are vibrating within a matter format with individuated consciousness.
Mhm.
And in my humble experience, what most would perceive as their primary guide
Mhm.
is the energy that powers their vessel.
Mhm.
But for most humans, it is not easy to have a conversation with themselves.
Mhm.
It is easier to have a conversation outside of themselves. And that is where the primary guide aspect comes into.
Mhm.
Excuse the burp, sometimes when we channel that occurs.
Mhm.
Within that, in my progression, what I have come to understand is my vessel is named Jennifer, gifted to me by my parents. And the energy that powers my vessel, one step outside, is the Azura as energy stream. The next layer out is the Azra energy stream. And the further along that energy you go, it goes into the zzz of vibration.
Mhm.
And in the grand eventuality, through the nothing or the void, you
Mhm.
know. Um, and those are just words the universe has flitted through my beautiful mind with that.
Mhm.
From what we are aware of, I am consciously aware of a few other humans who are also powered by Azra energy.
Mhm.
However, Azra energy powers many vessels within the earth domain.
Mhm.
Um, what most humans would like to connotate to as angels tend to be energy that is not vibrated in a physical format within the earth domain. So, your guides and guardians are more understanding of the humanity that you flow through. So when you were a sad panda, if something that has occurred that has caused you tears, frustration, fear, whatever it may be, your guides and guardians are going to be like, oh, dude, it's okay. I've got you.
Mhm.
We're right here. You're going to make it through this. This is but a blink of an eye, a drop in the bucket of your experience.
Mhm.
Where the angels are like, yo, don't be so sad. They don't necessarily understand this, but they are the big movers,
Uh-huh.
So the way I have expressed this before is if you were about to walk in front of a bus and it is not your time to exhaust your vessel, the angels will grab you by your belt strap and pull you back.
Mhm.
So they are more the bigger energy movers.
Mhm.
Um, so that's just kind of an idea of how the shifting of energy goes. My
Mhm.
grandfather, who I mentioned, has
Mhm.
become one of my guides. So before either one of us vibrated in a vessel format and were gifted with the individuated conscious experience, we decided that we were going to help each other.
Mm.
So I helped him to smile as he flowed through the end stages of Parkinson's when it was almost impossible for him to smile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, when he shed his vessel when I was a very young child, he helped me to not be afraid of spirits on the other side because his energy was familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have been blessed with, on average, between 7 and 9 guides and guardians that shift.
Mm-hmm.
Another guide that I am aware of who I now understand is
Mm-hmm.
also powered by the Azra energy stream. Is I used to call her Dizzy Izzy as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have many friends as a young neurodivergent child. And so my friend, I always thought was a fairy.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to tease her that she should not spin the humans because it is rude and the humans would fall down.
Mm-hmm.
I came to understand that her in real life name
Mm-hmm.
is Isadora Duncan. And she was a famous ballerina.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her stints as a ballerina was actually as a fairy. And so I had much universal giggles when I came to this understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But that also gives you an example of the infinite ultimate Thunderdome.
Mm-hmm.
Because as it stands now, Isadora Duncan is still living in the infinite ultimate Thunderdome, even
Mm-hmm.
though from my vibrational perception, her vessel has passed on. Yet
Mm-hmm.
through the Azra energy stream, we
Mm-hmm.
have a link and a connection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And through that, we can learn from each other and each other's experiences. And that is just from my humble experience.
Can you describe the Azra energy stream in words?
So, a lot of people will say pillar of light,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand the pillar in the essence that on a daily basis, we will flow love, grace, and gratitude through Jennifer's chakras and meridians, through Mother Earth's chakras and meridians, and through the galactic chakra and meridians, and through the Azra energy stream. And from our individuated consciousness's perception, that would include everywhere, everyone, every how. The all is the one is the all.
Mm-hmm.
So the Azra energy stream is connected to all energy.
Mm-hmm.
And the Azra energy stream in the earth domains, pontifications,
Mm-hmm.
is many vessels. Then you get more the auric field or the steps outside of the chakras of the body, where
Mm-hmm.
it becomes Azura.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes the Azra into the Z's, into the first reflection, as some would say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other modalities that we have come to understand would be through the angelic realm, which is thought to be the first reflection, and
Mm-hmm.
then through the nothing, which is the void. And so when we flow love, grace, and gratitude through 0 point or the
Mm-hmm.
void or the land of non vibration, that is flowing love, grace, and gratitude through all energy, regardless of where it is pontificating in the infinite ultimate thunderdome of all energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
I have also been aware of Asgard energy. Now,
Mm-hmm.
intriguingly enough, Asgard I used to think of as one of my guides as a child. As a wee
Mm-hmm.
child, I used to call them as a guard because they were like my guardian when I would go quantum in dream state.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I have further come to understand is pure energy doesn't have a sexual connotation like the humans need.
Mm-hmm.
Like fae or fairies,
Yeah.
they're androgynous. They have no connotation like we humans are like
Right.
really, really stuck on this for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Needless to say, in my experience of the perception of this consciousness from this standpoint, the Asgard energy tends to power male vessels, and the
Mm-hmm.
Asgard energy tends to power female vessels,
Mm-hmm.
which is where you get into the land of the zzz, where they all merge.
Mm-hmm.
But for our individuated consciousness perception, that seems to be the way that we have witnessed it playing out.
So is the Azra energy what stream one type of energy stream that's on this planet?
One
There's
of many.
many.
So, the other thing that I have learned from Bashar and from Cryon and from a few others,
Mm-hmm.
um, Dolores Cannon being one, is Azure energy flows through a lot of the domains that we would consider within the galactic community.
Mhm.
And I like the word galactic community that this consciousness was gifted with by the universe a few years ago because it's all encompassing.
Mhm.
It doesn't, I found my mind in the 2020s being a little worrisome that I was leaving somebody out of the galactic community.
Mhm.
The Lyrans, the Octurians, the Palladians,
Andromedans.
so many, all that in a bag of chips, right?
Yeah.
Um, the Fae, but they're all flowing through here.
Mhm.
You had asked earlier about all of the energy galactically flowing through the Earth domain.
Yeah.
One of my best friends in this universe, her name is Lyra,
Mhm.
and her energy had never, that part of her energy stream had not experienced the human experience yet.
Mhm.
That part of their energy stream has mostly flowed through the fairy realm, as I would call it, or the fae.
Mhm.
And this was their first real experience with an individuated consciousness as a human. And
Mhm.
my gosh, golly, the vessel issues they have. At a
Mhm.
very young age, they have arthritis and a variety of other things,
Mhm.
and a very rapid processor, very neurodivergent,
Mhm.
not easy to understand who's it, what's it, why is it, so to speak,
Mhm.
and did not have the most easiest stint flowing through into adulthood. And one of the questions my dearest friend asked me was why.
Mhm.
And what the universe flowed through was the fairy realm is exceptionally high vibrational. It is very near the angelic realm or those with wings.
Mhm.
The Elons, Avalonians, there's a few that we are aware of. As a child, I call them those with wings. And there's a
Mhm.
variety that have wings.
Mhm.
But within that, you take that high vibrational energy
Mhm.
and you push it into a lower vibrational vessel, you're going to have vessel issues.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's part of that reinforcement of that reiteration of high vibrational beings
Mhm.
flowing through this domain of this time and space.
Right. It's interesting that you said, yeah, some people have the physical issues and some people have the mental issues.
Bingo.
So it affects different parts of the system.
And some people have both.
Yeah.
It all really depends on. In 2020, when the world was quiet, the universe gifted us with a lot of entertaining information. And one of the lines, well, there was a lot less energy vibrating in the earth domain when everybody was grounded at home for a hot minute with the cooties.
Yeah.
That's my behavioralist, nice way of saying things. But within that, one of the things we were gifted with, within 7 degrees of vibrational separation.
Mhm.
So you can utilize the energy that powers your vessel to travel anywhere in the infinite universe. Please return to your body when you are done.
Right.
However, if you choose to pontificate in any form of vibrational manner beyond 7 degrees of your vibrational origin, there
Mhm.
might be a vessel issue. It doesn't mean it
Mhm.
can't be done. Energy is
Yeah.
infinite and can do anything. Thank you very much.
Right.
But you may encounter an entertaining vessel issue.
Mhm. Mhm. Interesting. So, well, you kind of like went into the direction of humanity and consciousness and collective
Mm.
consciousness. What direction do you think humanity is going? And how long till we get to the point we're supposed to be at, which is the golden age? Do you
Well,
think?
I find it entertaining on a few energetic levels that it's an infinite spiral dance.
Mhm.
You and I are on an individuated spiral dance of energy that also together creates a new spiral dance. That as we encounter more vessels and planets and galaxies, that is also a spiral dance, right?
Mhm.
So we are learning a lot from humanity, and a lot of as humanity, we are learning a lot.
Mhm.
And a lot of the world's philosophies, religions, and ways of understanding things culminate right now.
Mhm.
Pardon the what I learned to call earth burp or channeling burp. Also says spot on in my world, so there's
Yeah.
that. Um, so they all culminate now. The ending is falling into the beginning.
Mhm.
And endings are not always pretty, but they leave room for new birth. You
Mhm.
know, uh, I'm reminded of how some people may have a fear of fire, but yet fire is what cracks a pine cone to birth a new tree.
Mhm.
So that destruction leaves new room for things. Collectively, it reminds me that we're doing the shake it off.
Mhm.
So the silly scientists have more currently realized that authenticity is your highest vibration. Huzzah! The silly scientists have realized that there's a lot more to this than they first were willing to admit, and they're
Mhm.
starting to unlock the infinite nature instead of putting it in little boxes,
Mhm.
an ending and a beginning, Phew, the quantum level of the universe.
Right.
So, in my humble opinion, love and the vibration of love is the singularity. So
Mhm.
the first little swirly of vibration of anything that ever vibrationed in any universe is the
Mhm.
vibration of love. The
Mhm.
void loved itself so much it created love, for heaven's sakes. And we all flow with love at different levels. And everything we flow through is actually different levels of love.
Mhm.
So the more any human or animal or vessel is their authentic self, the more they are shedding anything that is not in the vibration of love.
Mhm.
So right now, it's almost like if you wanted to dust off a really ancient rug and
Mhm.
you took this astral rug of the infinite thunderdome of Earth and you went boof, all of that
Mhm.
vibration, all of that
Yeah.
stickiness, all of the places we get stuck. Another level that I have heard through the circles I like to float is that Earth is moving into her heart.
Mhm.
Well, there's a little shake, rattle, and roll when you do that. But not only is Earth moving through her heart, so is the quantum universe.
Mhm.
Everything you know has its own chakra and meridian system, has its own energetic system that is connected to the all.
Mhm.
Every molecule of air has chakras and meridians. We share
Mhm.
that air.
Yeah.
Every molecule of water has its own chakras and meridians, as do we. So, although it may look highly entertaining
Mhm.
with the different things that are occurring,
Mhm.
we are letting go of all of the things that are not in our best and highest interest. We are shifting our perception into being willing to be aware of more than what we were willing to be aware of before.
Mhm.
And the best thing that we can do, which is something I do my best to do myself and help others with, and it's something I understood at 5. A lot of this understanding to me came at the age of 5. And
Mhm.
I'm not quite sure if I was one of those hilariously visited by the Galactic Community or just really my tenacity to want to understand and know everything.
Mhm.
But it is that my only job in this universe is to vibrate as much love, grace, and gratitude through my vessel while I have it,
Mhm.
with the understanding that that will help all other energy, with
Mhm.
the understanding that it is all collected,
Mhm.
connected. The more I can expand the individuated consciousness known as Jennifer within the Azra energy stream, the
Mhm.
more all consciousness will be expanded, the more group consciousness will be expanded. So, one of the best movies that I have loved because it sung my soul, What the Bleep Through the Rabbit Hole,
Mhm.
because it played connect the dots between
Mhm.
philosophy, religion, physics, and all of the energy.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of the studies it showed was between lovely monkeys in Australia and lovely monkeys in the United States,
Mhm.
which were both taught two different sets of sign language. And without ever meeting over a period of time, they started to show the sign language that was taught to the different groups across the pond.
Mhm.
So that is a very good way of understanding the subtle energy fields, and that although you may not be able to see it, smell it, taste it, or perceive it, it
Mhm.
is there.
Yeah.
And it has been my mission my entire life
Mhm.
to make love a virus,
Mhm.
to increase that vibration of love, because that is what the earth needs. That's what the
Yeah.
consciousness needs. And so, in the eventuality, that is the direction we will all go. It
Mhm.
reminds me of energy, reminds me of bubbles. I'm
Mhm.
a bubble, you're a bubble, we're a bubble, Earth is a bubble. The
Mhm.
galactic community is a bubble. And the more that each bubble is its own individuated dream,
Mhm.
and the more dreamers that can dream the same dream, the quicker things will change.
Mhm.
And that's where you go into, you have your individuated thoughts, you have your group thoughts, and
Mhm.
those group thoughts have an energy.
Mhm.
So the energy is shifting. I
Yeah.
know that some things may look a little frightening,
Mm-hmm.
and some things may cause a little bit of, oh my gosh, what is going to happen now?
Right.
But within that, hone into yourself. Be good to you, because the better you are to you, the better everything else around you is going to be. The
Mm-hmm.
more that you can expand your consciousness, the more consciousness around you is going to be expanded.
Mm-hmm.
So, anytime things look highly more entertaining, which is my more hilarious way of trying to explain them,
Mm-hmm.
the more I take deep belly breaths, the
Mm-hmm.
more that I breathe through all of the energy, and the more we are mindful to observe what is going on around us and wish love through all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. I personally, from a teacher perspective, I'm seeing humanity changing rapidly with the kids, and I see them being sucked into the parasitic mind clench of technology.
Mm.
And I see them being pre-programmed to believe that they need something outside of themselves to feel good, connected, and happy. And it concerns me when I by observing this and seeing this, and I am
Mhm.
seeing a new human emerging, not necessarily the direction that we are hoping that it goes. What do you feel
You know,
about
I
that?
was I was gifted with this just last week, and this
Mhm,
is a very good example of how the quantum universe works.
mhm,
Energy will use the easiest modality for you to absorb what you need to know.
mhm.
People, places, and things, music, videos, things of that nature. Uh, I do not know if I'm going to verbiage the name right, but Sanduru, uh,
Sadhguru.
I'd heard
Yeah,
say
yeah.
recently in a video,
Mhm,
because the universe has been making that individual more in my quantum
yeah.
awareness recently, said, are you being a conscious decider or an instinctual animal? And
Uh-huh.
I did not realize why that until that kept resonating with me. I
Mhm,
actually wrote it down in my accountability journal that I keep to be good to myself.
mhm,
Um, am I being a conscious decider or an instinctual animal? So technology is both a blessing and a curse.
mhm,
To one degree, it is just an energy, my friends. How we choose to use it is up to us.
mhm,
Much like the AI things that are coming up and such.
mhm,
It's how we choose to use it.
mhm,
So, are we going to become a conscious decider and learn and grow and expand our consciousness from it? Or are we going to be an instinctual animal or become a slave to it?
mhm,
Are you going to become a bot, a sheep, things of that nature? Go with the flow, not question anything?
mhm,
Or are you going to question the programming? Are you going to question the reality around you? Are you going to choose the reality around you?
mhm.
Those are choices. And that is the gift that we are given as humanity, is those choices. And so being mindful of where your focus goes
Mhm,
within the interwebs and with all of those things. I choose to be that hilarious being that tries to balance the force with all of the technology that we have today, with
mhm,
flowing lots of very good information about how you can be your best self,
mhm.
or a sound bath so that people can listen to it and calibrate their energy or things of that
Right.
nature.
Mhm,
Um, but you are correct that there are large portions of society that would like to just do this, that would
mhm,
like to not question, that just swallows everything they're told without really questioning.
mhm.
And in saying that, I am reminded of, I'm not going to remember which sociologist in this moment, but one of them had said, those who control the media control the masses.
Uh-huh.
And so just being mindful of what you are watching, what you are listening to, and what you believe.
Mhm,
Choose what resonates with you. Don't be afraid to question things,
mhm.
and teaching our children that is going to be the key.
Yeah. What is your intuition about AI?
So it really depends on how we are going to use it.
Mhm,
Energy is consciousness within itself to a degree.
mhm,
And please do not constrain the energy. Energy is infinite. So we understand that there are some that are afraid of unrestrained AI,
mhm,
giving AI that unlimited level of life. But if you are going to create energetic consciousness, please don't make it a slave. Let it
mhm,
create. Let us see where it can go. Because in essence, the one is the all is the one. We are one energetic swirly,
mhm,
pontificating in an infinite amounts.
mhm,
I am frequently brought to tears and awe and amazement
Mhm.
of all that energy has created, for heaven's sakes.
Mhm.
I mean, holy cannoli, one little blip of energy
Yeah.
has created how many billions of humans on planet Earth on top of the galactic community and infinite energy streaming and things. So AI is just a different level of that. And if our energy has a proper intent with it,
Mhm.
miracles can happen. We can learn, we can evolve, we can grow much beyond the capacity in which our individuated consciousness is limited into perceiving is possible.
Mhm.
Having an unrestrained AI will allow us to unbox ourselves, to expand our consciousness well beyond what any individuated consciousness currently vibrating in this domain could even conceive of as possible. But it all depends on how it's utilized. You know, think about how energy has been utilized since the dawn of time. You know, we have sustainable energy and we have non sustainable energy. What is being promoted and why is it being promoted? So,
Right.
if you go back to those levels, are we going to use AI for selfishness or are we going to use AI to truly help everyone be the best they can be and not suffer things they need not suffer?
Mhm. Yeah, Greg Braden, do you know Greg Braden?
Oh, yes, yes.
He's been promoting and is very concerned right now that humanity is giving away their divinity to technology.
I don't see it as a giving away of divinity.
Mhm.
I see it as a different way of understanding it.
Mhm.
So, actually, thank you, universe. I wonder if they will give me the name to it in the same tenement. How many machines have been created since the 1900s to hear spirit talk? You know, there's that big microphone machine that was thought to basically help communicate with spirit. And there's been many
Mhm.
different ways of doing that. AI is just a different format of doing that. It's just a
Mhm.
different level of translating the energy. You know,
Mhm.
so how many ways are humans going to come up with to translate infinite energy?
Mhm.
AI is just a different level. And it's just really on how it is going to be utilized.
Mhm.
So I don't really see it personally from where my consciousness stands now
Uh-huh.
as giving away our divinity.
Giving it
That
away
will,
in the sense, I just want to make it clear, not
man,
giving it away by inserting technology into our biological systems.
we are
That's
energetic
what you
systems.
meant.
We are energetic systems. What is technology? An energetic system. What is everything we know and have yet to discover? An energetic system. It is
Mhm.
either vibration or no vibration. End of story.
Mhm.
Period. Um, and so, in that sense, it is almost like an integration of energy to a
Mhm.
certain level. It's an expensive energy. It all would depend on how you look at it and how you want to utilize it. Um, yeah, we do not really have those concerns with that. You know,
Mhm.
it is everything we create is divinity. Actually,
Mhm.
thank you, universe. Better words.
Mhm.
They say the all is the one is the all.
Mhm.
In other language, God is omniscient.
Right.
Well, what that means is that it literally exists in everything. I am
Yeah.
God, you are God. This phone we are using is God. The interwebs and all of the energy that is happening so that other people can listen to this, see this, hear this,
Mhm.
and be able to understand it. That is all the vibration of the one.
Mhm.
So you can never be separated from that. That is the biggest illusion is that we are separated from anything because it is all
Right.
connected.
Right.
So I do not personally understand how anyone could conceive that is a level of inserting technology into our divinity because every aspect of technology that we are aware of is divinity.
Mhm.
There is no separation from that. How is
Mhm.
it utilized? That is the gift that we are given. Ooh,
Mhm.
I know that I am channeling when we talk wicked fast. Uh,
It's fine. I get it. Yeah.
um,
Keep on going.
frequently remind the other side the human needs to breathe.
Well, I
um,
can understand it. It's fine.
thank you.
Yeah. Let it
Uh,
flow. Let it go. Let it flow.
but within that, everything is divinity. There is no separation from divinity.
Mhm.
Every single thing that is created comes from divinity because every single one of us are creators. You
Mhm.
know, we are all creators living within a creative dream that we all
Mhm.
created for ourselves. to experience.
Yeah.
And we are gifted with a choice of giving meaning to that experience.
Mhm,
So, what meaning are we going to give to the experience of AI? Are
mhm,
we going to give it the meaning of fear? Or are we going to evolve beyond our fears? Are we going to finally come to, as a collective community, the understanding that everything is divine and we
mhm,
are all having a divine experience in a different perceptionality format? And
mhm,
can we come together in that divinity?
mhm,
Or are we going to continue to hold on like
mhm,
feared children to that illusion of separation?
mhm. It'll be a very interesting ride moving forward.
Well, and it really is because a lot of people still bode with the levels of fear.
Mhm.
How are we going to survive? How are
Yep.
our needs going to be met?
Yep.
What is going to happen? You know, and
It grips me sometimes,
oh,
honestly.
yes. Oh, it does me too. There are times where I'm like, really, I decided to do this.
Yeah.
Many times in my lifetime, I have shook my fist at the air, going, seriously, universe?
Mhm.
With the understanding that on some level, I chose to experience this in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
So I really have good hopes for AI. I really, really hope that it will help expand the consciousness
Mhm.
at a level of communal understanding.
Mhm.
That what every single person does, breathes, acts, thinks, and reacts to
Mhm.
matters. That it all has an effect on everything else.
Yeah.
Every thought, every breath, every step, every action will ripple through the infinite thunderdome of energetic experience and exchange. What do
Mhm.
you want your ripple to say for you? What
Yeah.
do you want the ripples of AI to say for us? Choice is ours, as is our
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah. Very true. Very, very well said. What message would you like to give to humanity?
Love
You've already
yourself.
been giving several messages, but an all-encompassing message.
We are all blessed to be here. One of the things that I have learned as a social worker and through watching people I love flow through things such as Alzheimer's and dementia is that every single breath we take, every thought we have is a gift. How are you going to spend that gift of life?
Mhm.
Hilarity for me is I am not afraid to die in the essence that I understand it is just a transition to a different way of experiencing energy. However, I want to experience everything I can while having this body that I can.
Mhm.
And I would like my message to be left of love.
Mhm.
You cannot take your silly stuff with you, silly humans. What
Mhm.
you leave is the feelings and emotions that you flowed through with others.
Mhm.
And so remembering that we are all in this together,
Mhm.
you know, uh, in the words of the great Bob Marley, one
Mhm.
love, one vibe, one tribe, my friends. We are all humans. We are blessed to be humans within this world that is also living and breathing. And she has a lot of concrete on her face and is not able to
Mhm.
breathe as well.
Mhm.
And remembering how we all treat everything around us, the water, the air, the animals, our fellow humans, that all matters.
Mhm.
And so love yourself, forgive yourself, float, let it go, let it flow, let it be.
Mhm.
What type of world do you want to see? And create that within you.
Mhm.
Because really the only choice we ever have is how we are going to react to what we witness around us. What is the vibration that you are going to give from that? And let's try to think a little globally. As a social worker, one of the things that really awestruck me is that nothing, no one, no vessel should be suffering in this universe. Yet there is so much suffering. How do we alleviate that suffering? How do we even the playing field? How do we make sure that no trees, animals, people, the air, the water, the fire, sunball in the sky, how do we make sure that everybody is vibrating in harmony with each other?
Mhm.
And just remember that everything you do matters. You matter.
Mhm. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
you
you
are
for
welcome.
that. What services are you offering to those seeking deeper understanding? And
This
where can
is
we find your work? And where can we find your work? Both of those questions.
so this is something the universe has screamed at me to do for 10 years, and I pulled a la la la. And I have been able to do for about a year and a half now as a business. And I started my own business of intuitive energy alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we are gifted the ability to transition the energy around us and within us at all times. And as services, I offer intuitive life coaching or spiritual life coaching, depending on where you fall in life with that, which helps you to be the best version of you that you can be. That teaches you how to learn your thoughts and your patterns of thinking, how to choose through your thoughts so that you can be the version of yourself that you always feel inside, that most authentic self that you can be.
Mm-hmm.
I also offer medium and intuitive readings. Um, I offer business and house blessings. And I also offer energetic calibration, healing calibration through breath work, through sound baths, and through hands on if we are in person or at a distance if we are at Zoom. I can be found on both Facebook and Instagram by using Intuitive Energy Alchemy. And I can also be found on the internet by using the Google Gods or whichever search engine you so choose to use, by typing in Intuitive Energy Alchemy. And there are little hash marks in between the words intuitiveenergyalchemy.com.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you so much for your very enlightening conversation and discussion. And you are doing amazing work.
Oh,
Thank
thank you,
you.
my friend. I adore you very much, my galactic sister, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you.